He did not know where he was, whether he was standing or lying down. He did not even know his own name. Maniacal laughter was ringing in his ears. He was happier than he had been in a very long time, jubilant, ecstatic, triumphant. A wonderful, wonderful thing had happened. Harry! Harry! Someone had hit him around the face. The insane laughter was punctuated with a cry of pain. The happiness was draining out of him, but the laughter continued. He opened his eyes, and as he did so, he became aware that the wild laughter was coming out of his own mouth. The moment he realized this, it died away. Harry lay panting on the floor, staring up at the ceiling, the scar on his forehead throbbing horribly. Ron was bending over him, looking very worried. "What happened?" he said. "I dunno," Harry gasped, sitting up again. "He's really happy." "You know who is?" "Something good has happened," mumbled Harry. He was shaking as badly as he had done after seeing the snake attack Mr. Weasley and felt very sick. "Something he's been hoping for." The words came just as they had back in the Gryffindor changing room, as though a stranger was speaking through them, through Harry's mouth, yet he knew they were true. He took deep breaths, willing himself not to vomit all over Ron. He was very glad that Dean and Seamus were not here to watch this time. "Hermione told me to come and check on you," said Ron in a low voice, helping Harry to his feet. "She says your defenses will be low at the moment after Snape's been fiddling around with your mind. Still, I suppose it'll help in the long run, won't it?" He looked doubtfully at Harry as he helped him toward the bed. Harry nodded without any conviction and slumped back on his pillows, aching all over from having fallen to the floor so often that evening, his scar still prickling painfully. He could not help feeling that his first foray into occlumency had weakened his mind's resistance rather than strengthening it, and he wondered with a feeling of great trepidation what had happened to make Lord Voldemort the happiest he'd been in 14 years. Chapter 25. The Beetle at Bay. Harry's question was answered the very next morning. When Hermione's Daily Prophet arrived, she smoothed it out, gazed for a moment at the front page, and then gave a yelp that caused everyone in the vicinity to stare at her. "What?" Harry and Ron said together. For an answer, she spread the newspaper on the table in front of them and pointed at 10 black and white photographs that filled the whole of the front page, 9 showing wizards' faces and the 10th a witch's. Some of the people in the photographs were silently jeering. Others were tapping their fingers on the frame of their pictures, looking insolent. Each picture was captioned with a name and the crime for which the person had been sent to Azkaban. "Antonin Dolohov," read the legend beneath a wizard with long, pale, twisted face, who was sneering up at Harry. "Convicted of the brutal murders of Gideon and Fabian Pruitt." "Augustus Rookwood," said the caption beneath a pockmarked man with greasy hair who was leaning against the edge of his picture, looking bored. "Convicted of leaking Ministry of Magic secrets to he who must not be named." But Harry's eyes were drawn to the picture of the witch. Her face had leapt out at him the moment he had seen the page. She had long dark hair that looked unkempt and straggly in the picture, though he had seen it sleek, thick, and shining. She glared up at him through heavily lidded eyes, an arrogant, disdainful smile playing around her thin mouth. Like Sirius, she retained vestiges of great good looks, but something, perhaps Azkaban, had taken most of her beauty. "Bellatrix Lestrange, convicted of the torture and permanent incapacitation of Frank and Alice Longbottom." Hermione nudged Harry and pointed at the headline over the pictures, which Harry, concentrating on Bellatrix, had not yet read. "Mass breakout from Azkaban Ministry fears Black is rallying point for old Death Eaters." "Black?" said Harry loudly. "Not—" "Shh!" whispered Hermione desperately. "Not so loud. Just read it." "The Ministry of Magic announced late last night that there had been a mass breakout from Azkaban." Speaking to reporters in his private office, Cornelius Fudge, Minister of Magic, confirmed that 10 high-security prisoners escaped in the early hours of yesterday evening, and that he has already informed the Muggle Prime Minister of the dangerous nature of those individuals. "We find ourselves, most unfortunately, in the same position we were in 2.5 years ago, when the murderer Sirius Black escaped," said Fudge last night. Nor do we think the two breakouts are unrelated. An escape of this magnitude suggests outside help, and we must remember that Black, as the first person ever to break out of Azkaban, would be ideally placed to help others follow in his footsteps. We think it likely that these individuals, who include Black's cousin, Bellatrix Lestrange, have rallied around Black as their leader. We are, however, doing all we can to round up the criminals and beg the magical community to remain alert and cautious. On no account should any of these individuals be approached. There you are, Harry, said Ron, looking awestruck. That's why he was happy last night. I don't believe this, snarled Harry. Fudge is blaming the breakout on Sirius. What other options does he have? Said Hermione bitterly. He can hardly say, sorry everyone, Dumbledore warned me this might happen. The Azkaban guards have joined Lord Voldemort. Stop whimpering, Ron. And now Voldemort's worst supporters have broken out too. I mean, he's spent a good 6 months telling everyone you and Dumbledore are liars, hasn't he? All right, we're going to stop there tonight, baby. I love you so much. I hope you have an awesome time at Wilderness of the Smokies and that you sleep well tonight. And I'll talk to you on Friday. Mwah. I love you.